أتى الله بقلب سليم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. So before we get started with new things today, number one, I would just like to ask, how many of you have actually attended my programs previously? How many have not? Okay, ladies have not.
Does that include the program we had last night?
What's that?
The program that we had last night, does that include it?
Well, you didn't have that program last night. Oh, yeah, last night.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean who was here last night? No, I'm saying when I was here a couple of years ago, because we're going to do some of this content again. Because after a few years go by, actually a few months go by, then we start forgetting about all these things. So we need to continually, sharpen the saw, as it were. So, okay, let's just go over a little bit what we went over last night. Who remembers something from last night? Who was here last night? Was everybody here last night? All the ladies were here? So what did we talk about last night?
Purpose of life.
Purpose of life. And what did we decide? Did we decide on a purpose?
Yes.
Hopefully. Which is? That we are here for what?
We are the slaves of
For the worship of Allah, for ibadah, for ubudiyah, right? We are here for ubudiyah. Actually, this is the... Does everyone now understand this term ubudiyah? If I ask you, if we do a little quiz, are we prepared? Okay, so ubudiyah, what does that mean, ubudiyah?
being in the state of worship.
Constantly engaging, constantly engaging in
Yeah.
the act of the will.
Okay? Anyone else like to add something to that, please? Yeah? Okay, it's good that you said that because most of our people who don't speak Arabic as a language, they have not been introduced to this word, ubudiyah. But they probably know the word ibadah. Or ibadat. English-speaking people, they say ibadat. Okay? So what's the difference between ubudiyah and ibadah? They both come from the same root word, actually. It all stems from abd. It all stems from being a slave.
I think that is just worshiping the service to Allah, slave to Allah. Everything is in your life will be about.
Yeah, well, we're going to see that they're both directly linked. So, ubudiyah is a state of being. In other words, someone is in a state of ubudiyah, meaning that I'm conscious of the fact that I am not, I'm not free. I'm a slave. I'm a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I have been created by Him, and I'm controlled by Him. I have to return back to Him, and I'm accountable, to Him. And so that consciousness, that state of mind and heart, or if you like, state of being, this is called the state of ubudiyah. Now, every action that I perform resulting from this state of being is called ibadah. In other words, there's a state of being and there's an action that stems from the state of being, and that is called ibadah. So ibadah is an action, and ubudiyah is a state of being, right? So one is the general state of being, and then every action that ensues. Now, going back to your statement, ibadah is like worship. So we have this concept that we have a bifurcation of our life's activities. We have activities which we consider worldly or dunyawi actions, and we have other things that are actually religious or dini actions. Now, in fact, the whole idea is, and the whole concept is that every action that we do can become an act of ibadah. Actually, this is where we went off the track. We started thinking, this is where Christians actually they went off the track, because they started, give Caesar what's due to Caesar and give what's due to the church, and this kind of concept. But in Islam, everything is Islam. So we're going to go through a little exercise right now, to clarify that, because we didn't do that yesterday, and we'll do that. So we talked about our purpose, we talked about ubudiyah, we talked about this tanabbur, okay? And so, we talked about the Ubudiyya, that's a state of mind and heart that stems from reflecting. And we're going to do a reflection exercise a little later on in the day, inshallah. So we can fortify that whole concept. Okay? So, no, actually, we want to still have some slides that are not. Just bear with me here for a moment. Yeah, correct. This is the problem. We still have some hidden slides. We don't want to hide any. Yesterday we were hiding some things, but today we want to reveal everything. Yeah. Okay? So that's what's going to happen now, inshallah. Okay, good. Okay. So Ubudiyya, to understand Ubudiyya a bit better, there are three terms that we need to understand, and we ensure that we understand correctly. We've all heard these terms, but we need to understand exactly what they mean. Number one, Islam. Do we understand what Islam means? Let's ensure that we do. What does Islam mean?
It's a good question because we last weekend we had Shaykh Yasser Biljas. He touched a little bit on those three concepts. So you can ask the question, you should know the answer.
Yeah, who did that?
Yasser Biljas from Dallas.
From Dallas. Yeah, was he in my program when I was there?
Which one?
No. I did this program in Dallas about a month ago.
The Valley Ranch.
Huh?
The Valley Ranch Masjid.
Okay. So Islam, what does it mean, Islam? We have to be very, certain, yeah.
To submit.
To submit, submission. A lot of times our Urdu-speaking people, they say Islam, it means salama. Well, salama means, peace, serenity, but actually peace salama is not Islam. Islam is something specific. It comes from the same root. And you cannot have salama unless you have Islam, that's for sure. But Islam is something very specific. It's surrender. Okay? And as we said before, the surrendering is out of his love and reverence. Right? It's not like we have to. So we'll talk about this a little bit more a little bit later. Okay, Muslim. So then what is a Muslim?
One who submits.
The one who submits, exactly. A lot of times people have a hard time. Muslim is, it's like, one who follows Islam, people Islam. It's like our religion. I mean, we have to be very clear. It actually is an actual solution. That's why, this Ubudiyya, once we understand this, we can understand Ubudiyya very clear. So Muslim is actually the one who submits. Now we have a problem. Because, level of submission. Do any of us actually submit totally like we should? Can anybody actually claim that, I'm a Muslim, 100%? So then we have a problem. So if a Muslim is the one who submits, and we find that we don't submit 100%, we find even people submit very little. In fact, they don't pray, they don't fast, but they say they're Muslim. So are they Muslim or not? Are they submitting? Apparently not. So they're not a Muslim, right? Or they are, or what?
They are.
Okay, so, I mean, where does the submission come? If they're submitting and they're Muslim, then where's the submission? Yeah?
Is there a difference between belief and submission?
Okay.
You have the belief, but you are lazy and you cannot submit.
Yeah, like most of us. Okay, so let's understand this a little bit better. So suppose we have two people. One person, the guy is in, he's in the ICU unit. I mean, he's totally incapacitated. He can't speak, he can't see, he can't eat, he can't do anything. He can't help himself. He's useless to his family, the society. I mean, absolutely useless. However, his heart is beating and his mind, his brain is alive, but that's about it. Totally useless. Okay? So, suppose, we look at this individual, we say, actually, as a matter of fact, this guy is useless, and he's just wasting, time and energy, and we're spending a lot of resources, so why don't we just, bury the guy, and get it over with. Is that okay? Really? And if we did that, then what would that make us? Huh? The person, as long as that human being is alive, is actually life, that life is more valuable than the entire universe and everything. The life of one human being, regardless of the level of life. So, we have another person, and that person is, fully, with all his capacity, with all his facilities, and he's able to do everything. He serves himself, his family, his communities, the CEO of his company might be the president of the country, whatever. So we have that person, we have the other person. That's a level of life, and that is also a level of life. And between the two, there's quite a lot of degrees. You follow that? So similarly, the minimum, submission is submission of the mind and heart that, yes, I submit to the concept that there is only one Allah, and I also submit to the concept that Muhammad is his last of a series of messengers, and I believe in all of it. That's also a kind of submission. It's a mental, it's a mental submission, but that's also a type of submission, the entry level of submission. And then from that entry level of submission, we have all the way up to Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the benchmark. So that submission, and we mention this because we have some weird, concepts out there, people who claim to be Muslims and they really don't know what they're doing or what they're talking about, and so they do very, weird things and very, traumatic things. So we need to understand that concept. Otherwise, he's not doing this, he's not praying, he's a kafir, khalas, take him out, That's not. Okay? So, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us complete and perfect Muslims, and the whole life is a striving and struggling to actually reach that benchmark. Okay? So then lastly, what is deen?
Religion?
Religion, what is religion?
The way of life.
Our way of life. Well, there's a lot of ways of life out there, so what, we have a specific way of life?
Submit.
Huh?
Submit Allah. To submit to Allah.
A life of submission. Okay. So if you like, you could just say, it's the total system of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Is this clear?
It's just a question about it.
Yeah.
So on the first one, we submit to Allah, but what we're not submitting to. Because there will be people submitting to Allah, but also very attached to other.
Well, that's what we said. There's a level of submission. There's an entrance level, and then it gets higher and higher and better. And so the whole life is a struggle to acquire higher levels of submission. And one of the ways that we're going to have higher level of submission is when we understand this whole system and what it entails and what the implications, which we're going to talk more in detail right now, okay? But the point that we need to understand, the point I was making here is that the very basic level of submission, that also is a form of submission. So again, you've got people out there, they're not doing this, they're not with us, so they're against us, you know. And so it's caused a huge problem. Okay, so is that understood? So now Deen is this total system of submission. So what does that entail? That entails all life and all activities in life. So before we look at this, before we start studying this a little bit, I just want to make this, that I have that slide, I took it out of this presentation. But otherwise I have a slide which shows that this system of the scope of Deen. Scope of Deen, all roles of life. For example, we are worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our ritual worship. We are trying to stay with me. Let's pay attention to this right now. Let's pay attention to this because I'll just take this off. So we focus here, because this requires focus. So the scope of Deen is all roles of life. All roles of life. So, roles, we have various roles in our portfolio as a human being. We are salik in Allah, our direct ubudiyya and ibadah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In our prayers, in our zikr, in our talawat, in our suluk, in our, We are also, for example, if we are men, then we're somebody's son, right? We have parents. So we're a son. If we're ladies, then we're a daughter. And we get married, we become a husband, we become a wife. And then when we have children, we become parents. We're also neighbors. We have relatives, so we're a relative as well. We have other roles that were specific to different individuals. For example, my son Abdurrahman is an imam, so that's a role. Somebody is, in his profession. He is an engineer, he's a doctor. He has a position in the community. Whatever roles we find ourselves in, people have basic roles that everybody has, and then we have specific roles that we have. So all of those roles are also governed by Deen. Deen tells us how to function and behave within those roles. And within those roles we have activities. As I said yesterday, the human being is continually doing things. In his waking hours and even in his sleeping hours. During sleep, he's sleeping. So his sleeping, can that be ubudiyya? Can that be Deen? Yes. His eating, his wearing of clothes, building his house, his profession, his craft, his trade. Can that be Deen also? Yes, absolutely. So to become Deen, for all of these activities, everything that we do, to become Deen, it requires two basic things. Number one, it requires an intention that differentiates it from a normal activity that anyone would be doing. For example, our eating is very similar physically to the eating of everybody else. So how can our eating become ubudiyya? How can our eating become Deen? It requires an intention. Why do we eat? Do we live to eat or do we eat to live? Huh? Supposed to. But if we look at ourselves, probably most of the time we're living to eat. We go to work all week, and then we come home with a paycheck. Now we're going to eat. And what do we eat? What we enjoy. Rather, there's a concept that we're eating to live. We are machines of ubudiyya and ibadah. So therefore, we are going to fuel ourselves to live a life of slavery. So that's a whole different concept. So I'm not eating because I just want to enjoy myself, I want to fill up my stomach. But ideally, I want to eat because this is the order of Allah, as we said. And since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sunnah, His way is that He has made our food and our drink and our nourishment fuel to run the human being, which He doesn't require to run the human being. He can have the human being much without food if He likes. But that's His system. So we follow that system because it's His order. And we follow the way of our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in doing so. And we differentiate between halal and haram. And so we have an intention. And with that intention, we follow Sharia and Sunnah. So every action that we do, we look for an intention that would differentiate that action from being just a common action that everybody does into an action which is actually, the objective is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through that activity. And we do that with everything. We go to sleep at night. Apparently, this is just, dead time. You're not doing anything. Actually, you are regenerating. It's a very important activity for the human being because he regenerates. So if we go to sleep with the intention that I am sleeping tonight because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made, the night as a sabata. He has made it a cutoff of activity to regenerate for another day of activity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the day and the night, خِلْقَةً لِمَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يَذَّكَّرَ أَوْ أَرَادَ شَكُورًا. We missed out this day, we were, lax, we were perhaps, not focused on our objective. The night comes, we sleep, and we get another chance the next day. Suppose there was no day or night, it was just a continuous. People would go on for, millenniums in ghaflat. But we are reminded in the changing of the day and the night that now, this day has come to a close. What did I achieve? How did I behave? How close did I get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How much did I obey? How much did I disobey? And then the night comes, we regenerate, inshallah, to live the next day better than the last. So in that way, this 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, it becomes an act of ibadah. It becomes actually a virtuous action, and we'll gain Jannah for that, inshallah. Is this clear? So that's a big difference. Otherwise, a third of our life is gone for nothing. But we can convert that third of our life into an act of worship, into a means of getting closer to us. And by doing so, we have to seek a proper and appropriate intention, and then we have to see the rules of Sharia and the way of Sunnah in doing so. Is this clear? Okay, now, having said all of that, we're going to do a little exercise. Those who have attended our workshop previously, we did this before, we'll do it again, inshallah. Those who haven't done it, then this will be a new exercise for you. So, this is kind of a graphic illustration of what we were talking about. I'm not going to do too much because I'm going to let you people do the thinking on this model. So, we have a little issue here because this slide, can we make this a little smaller? Because some of the slide is not coming in. Maybe we just move it up a little bit. You see right here, we need to see this. Yeah. Move it up a little bit. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay? So, this is actually a diagram which we try to sort of very simply illustrate a parable which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran. And it's a very powerful parable. And that parable is, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله أمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. Did you not see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set forth a parable? A goodly saying is a goodly tree. Kalima tayyibah. For lack of better words, it basically is good, wholesome, beneficial, wonderful, marvelous. I mean, you don't really have an English word that captures the meaning. But this goodly saying, what is inferred is kalima tayyibah. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Now, if this kalima finds itself manifesting, as we said last night, this nur of guidance through this kalima enters the heart of a human being, and that human being becomes like this very magnificent tree, this very amazing tree. And this tree, its nature is really, really something amazing, because its root is set firm and its branches in the sky. And what's happening? It's bringing forth its fruit at all times. It's not a seasonal tree. It's giving fruit all the time. Not only that, it gives different types of fruit in one tree. Now they have these things that they grafted trees, it gives 2, 3, 4, 5 kinds of fruit. Did you see that? But it has to be pretty much the same, species of fruit, but different types. But this tree gives all different types of fruits, and all different types of benefits, and all different types of flavors, and so forth. By the leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets forth parables. He gives us these examples so that we think about them, ponder over them. Perchance they may reflect. So we're actually going to do an exercise of reflecting on this parable. But before we reflect on this parable, there's another ayah that we're going to link with this parable. It's very intrinsically connected. And that ayah is this one. لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا من أنفسهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل في ضلال مبين. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did confer a great favor upon the believers when He sent among them a messenger from among themselves. Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And what did he do? This was the Prophet ﷺ's portfolio. This was his JD, if you like. You understand? You know what a JD is? Job description, right? When we start a particular project, we start a job, a position, we have a job description. What is my function in this particular position? This is the function of three basic functions as a Rasul, as a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number one, reciting to them the revelations of Allah. Reciting to them the verses of the Holy Quran. And this is not just a recitation to see how beautiful he was reciting, or recitation simply for barakah, although there is wonderful barakah in the Quran, there's no doubt. But this recitation, the objective of it, the primary objective is, it's a recitation of da'wat. It's a recitation of invitation. وذكر بالقرآن من يخاف الوعيد وأن أتلو القرآن فمن اهتدى. So this is the primary way of da'wah of Nabi Sallallahu was through the ayats of the Holy Quran. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is inviting His creation to Him and to this way of life of Islam through the medium of the Holy Quran. So the number one activity of Nabi Sallallahu is inviting the creation to the Creator through the medium of reciting the holy words, the verses of the Holy Quran to the people. Number one. Number two, and purifying them. وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ تَزْكِيَةً تَرْبِيَةً. So human beings, by default, they have two kind of diabolically opposed natures. One is they have a very angelic nature. So one part of the nature of the human being is that they recognize and they're capable of being very angelic. On the other hand, they also have an animalistic nature, which can turn them into, and if overpowering them, they become, beasts of the jungle. And as a matter of fact, human beings stoop to lower depths, of lowness that the animals in the jungle they would not even think of, as we see in the world today, right? So purifying them from these animalistic traits, these blameworthy traits, greed, jealousy, unfounded anger, stinginess, egotism, arrogance, such type of qualities. So changing these, purifying them, going through a process of eliminating these blameworthy characteristics and replacing them with praiseworthy characteristics. Love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rather than love of the world. Love of Rasulullah rather than love of oneself, for example. Sahawa, generosity as opposed to stinginess, hilm, patience, forbearance, as opposed to, ajla, hastiness and anger, and so forth. So this process of tazkiyah. This is the second area of effort of our Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. And thirdly, teaching them the scripture and the wisdom, teaching them the rules and regulations, the how of deen. Teaching them what to believe, teaching them how to act, teaching them acts of worship, how to their muamala, their interaction with other human beings, etc. In other words, teaching them how to live a life of deen through the medium of the Holy Quran and through the medium of his Sunnah. Basically teaching them Sharia. Okay? So these are the three areas of effort. Reciting the revelation, this is da'wah. Purifying them, we call this tazkiyah. And teaching them the scripture wisdom, we call this ta'aleem. Okay? And before the advent of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, they were in manifest error, just like most of us. We were living a life, whether we were not Muslims at all, we had no idea about it. And many of us were actually Muslims because by default, we were born in a Muslim family, but we really had no, real conception about that, no real sort of commitment to that, and then somewhere along the line, as we mentioned yesterday, that awakening. And probably because of that awakening, we're sitting here today, right? Many of our brothers and sisters, they're not here. They haven't been awoken as of yet. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all, an awakening. So now we have a little exercise. What we're going to do is, and I invite you to take a picture of this tree, okay? You want to take a picture of that? Everybody can take a picture, because we're going to exercise. We don't have the manuals. Usually when we do a proper workshop, we hand out manuals, but this is kind of a impromptu session. So we'll take a picture of this. And we're going to make breakaway groups. So every group, at least someone needs to have a picture of this. And make sure that we can, differentiate all these phrases, because everything written here has a purpose in this exercise and it needs to be observed. Okay? All right? Anybody else? No? Go ahead. Okay, well, got it? Okay, now the next thing we need to do is this is the exercise. This is what you're going to be doing. So take a picture of this one also. And what we're going to do is I'll put the slide back onto the tree diagram. If you like, we can call that the tree of Ubudiyya. Okay? And then you're going to have this exercise with you all. And so we're going to make groups. The ladies can make 1 or 2 groups. And the men similarly 4 or 5, of our brothers and sisters in a group. And we want everybody to participate in that. Think about, this example, and the questions that we're going to ask ourselves is, number one, what do we see here? In other words, what is the big picture of that diagram of the tree? What is the basic theme here? Is that clear? Okay, number two, identify the parts of the tree. It's not rocket science, of course, but it's important because every part of the tree has a particular function. So once we recognize that, it will help us to understand certain aspects of the exercise. Okay, number three, and this is the most important part, how did this tree bear fruit? If we remember, this tree, these are all, representing different types of fruits, okay? So how did this tree bear these fruits? What was the process from the beginning to the end? Just like we know, a regular tree doesn't have fruit immediately. There's a process that goes. So what is the process of this particular tree that culminated in the production of fruit? What were the elements and factors involved? And we want to keep all of those we want to keep all of the discussion within, within the diagram that we have. Yes. It's time for Dhuhr. So what we're going to do is, everybody's got that, so we're going to actually start the exercise after Salat al-Dhuhr, because now it's time for Salat. So, we've all got those pictures. We've got a picture of this. So inshallah, keep that in mind. After Salat, we'll break again. We'll just go over it a little bit. We'll probably have new people that might have just joined us. And so then we'll start this exercise. It's a very powerful exercise if you pay close attention. And okay, so directly after Salat, we'll again assemble without any further ado. Okay? Subhanallah, we're going to stop. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, hopefully that we've been physically nourished. Now we want to become spiritually nourished, inshallah, and intellectually nourished. So kindly come forward. Life is very short, and today is very short. And so, in this shortness, we want to take the maximum benefit possible. Okay, well, remember, was anybody not here before Salat al-Dhuhr? Because we're going to do an exercise, right? Right? So it wasn't already here, then we're just going to go over it very quickly. What happened here? Is this on? Okay, so what we said was that we have the diagram of the tree, right? And we want to identify, what's the big picture in that tree. We also want to identify where the various parts of the tree, and how did the tree bear fruit? That's the main thing. Okay? So we're ready for that? Is everybody finished their food, inshallah? Okay, who are the groups going to be? Let's have like 4 or 5, of our brothers and sisters, Sister Salma, she will organize this thing, inshallah, okay? And who's going to help our brothers, where's Abdul? Okay, so let's not don't be shy. 4 or 5 brothers inshallah together, and kind of spread out. And we're just going to do this exercise. And what we're going to do is, after we're done with that, we're going to give you like 10 minutes to think about this, discuss it. After 10 minutes, we'll come back and we'll hear one representative from one of the men's groups and one from the ladies' groups. Okay? We'd like to hear from everybody, but we only have time to hear one. Okay? So bismillah. You might like to just the front row, the second row, however you want to do it, but it's now, according to this clock, it says 2:03. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to 2:13. What's that? Go back to the picture of the tree. Absolutely. There's a tree. Okay? So you've got your exercise, and we want everybody to engage in this. This is very important because we want everybody to be thinking about this. Okay? So form your groups. And start your discussion. Let's have more groups of the ladies. Don't make just one group. Make 2, 3 groups, okay? So that, because we want everybody to actually, engage. Everybody's thinking about it and putting in their input. That'll have much more effect. You can even spread out. Somebody can go inside the masjid, somebody can come over this side, or whatever, however you're comfortable. So how are we doing? Pretty much there? Ladies? Ready? Okay. So, number one, we need to keep in mind that this is an example of the Holy Quran. So this is an example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has himself, given to us. So it comes with the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which has no limit. So if we spend the rest of our lives pondering on this, it would not be sufficient. So, but whatever we can, touch on this kind of begin the process of thinking. So when we come across ayahs like this in the Quran, we actually start reflecting on that. So we want to hear one of the groups who would like to present your findings. One group from the men, one group from the ladies. Ladies first or men first? No? This is like, the grade school kids, you're all, yeah, ladies, see? Okay, so do we have a microphone we can give the ladies? Or just give them this one? Or you want to write it down, or what do you want to do? Will you present? Okay, I'll give you the microphone. And you can just, Okay?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Like the rules, what we figured out, like the Al-Abeen starts with
do you want to use this one? There you go. Yeah. That's
yeah.
okay.
The rules are like just the name, excuse that like subhanAllah, the tree, the nutrition, whatever. They are ta'lim, dawah, and technical. So I have to.
Okay, the big picture. What's the big theme that we're seeing here, basically?
Yeah, it's like how subhanAllah having the Al-Abeen, it shows the fruit of it. It will show in all your life, which are Ma'ashara and Mu'amala and Akhlaq and Adab. Like subhanAllah, see the rules have like this everywhere. It's all from getting to the Al-Abeen. It will show in your salah.
So kind of a tree of Ubudiyya, how it...
Yes.
Huh? Okay. Good.
It's tayyiba, it's good, the nutrition, and whatever the soil is or the roots, these foods will be good, and the trunk will be strong. And if it's not...
Yeah, just right. First of all, what is the main theme? So the main theme is kind of like the theme of Ubudiyya. How Ubudiyya manifests itself in the life of a Muslim, kind of in this parable of the tree, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, the second thing we want to identify the parts of the tree. So what parts of the tree do we have here?
We have the roots,
Roots, trunk, branches, and fruits. Okay, good. So that doesn't seem like a very simple, it is significant because every part of the tree actually is significant, has its role. Okay, then how did the tree bear fruit? What was the process? How did that happen?
yeah, the table will train yourself and have you the knowledge of Ta'lim, Sunnah, Sharia, with the Islam.
So it started with dawah and tarbiyah, these things, huh?
The roots, yeah.
Started in the roots, okay. By the way, we're not saying that Ta'lim, dawah are actually the roots, but actually they are the yeah, they're the nutrients coming into the roots.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Then what happens?
And with having this, you learn the Sunnah and the Sharia, and how we have that love and all that, and the fiqh will lead us to the.
Okay, I have a question. So we have here 8 things. Fiqh, Ma'rifat, Iman, Yaqeen, Ikhlas, Nasiha, Sharia, Sunnah. Is this just kind of a conglomerate, or is there actually a sequence intended here? Do you follow what I'm saying? I mean, are these things sequential? Is it order here? Or it's just a conglomerate of things and it doesn't matter which is the
No,
first or second.
You're thinking. I think the mind, subhanAllah, when you know, your mind gets stronger and you yaqeen, you get to the yaqeen, which is higher level, and you get to the,
Okay, then what happens?
and then you get to the awliya.
Then the rudiya develops, and then what happens? Then you get.
And the awliya will be like part of your everything, you know, not only in salah, the ibadah and mu'amala and mu'ashara. Everyone will, not only you, even people around you will see it in your mu'amala and mu'ashara and akhlaq.
Wonderful. Anything else? Would anyone like to add to that? No? Okay, this sister would like to add something. Send, give her the microphone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
In the first group, in the brown family, there is fiqh and ma'rifah and iman.
Huh?
I see there is something before the fikr and fitra. We were born with something called the fitra.
Fitra,
And
yeah.
that's the fitra, it's the beginning before the fikr. And then we start thinking, is there is a God? What's going to happen after life? And then the ma'rifah, you're going to look for it. And then the yaqeen, or iman, the yaqeen and ikhlas, and nasiha, and the sharia, and the sunnah, and is going on. And also I see that root is the root of the belief of our belief. So the first root is the root of everything. And then you go up and up and up to the ibadah. And that's the last part. When you go to salah, zakat, and everything. So that's what I think that's in the act.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. Okay, so from the men's side, who would like to present? Yeah. Come on, man, you don't.
The way I was, somebody there already?
Yeah, you want to present from your group? Yeah, Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The way I see it is that this tree is Islam. And the way
So the big picture is?
the big picture is Islam.
Okay.
And if basically, and the way we are showing this tree is that this tree is a very, very healthy tree. And to maintain this tree in the way it is on the screen, basically begins from the bottom to the top and to the left and the right is basically all these components. The taaleem, the tarbiyah and the da'wah, and then the fikr, marifat. This is basically what you would call basically the roots of the tree. The root is a very, very important component of a tree because unless and until the root is healthy, obviously the tree is not going to basically bear the fruit. And then basically the green portion of this diagram, this is basically the ibadahs. According to the Islam, these are the ibadah, the salah and the zakah and all those kinds of things. And for somebody who is basically, doing these ibadahs, then you are going to see the fruits. On the left hand side, my left hand side, basically the thing in blue, these are basically the characteristics of a good Muslim. And a good Muslim or Muslims having those characteristics basically, then on the right hand side basically the yellow and the orange basically, this is basically what a healthy Muslim community will look like. This is my interpretation.
Jazakumullah khair, mashallah. So, as I said, this is an example which Allah has given. It comes with His knowledge, and His knowledge is perfect, and His knowledge is unlimited. So, just to get a little bit more clarity, so we mentioned these three components, which are mentioned in the other ayat, which I mentioned. This is the portfolio, this is the JD of Rasulullah. يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ. Dawah, Tarbiyat, Ta'lim. So these are three, if you like, macronutrients. And interestingly, every plant requires three macronutrients, which are nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, right? And human beings also have three macronutrients, which are protein, carbohydrate, fat. This tree also has three macronutrients, Dawah, Tarbiyat, Ta'lim, right? Now, there's a lot of micronutrients also. There's vitamins and minerals and all of these things. But these are the macro components that nourish this tree, just as we have macro components that nourish us in every plant. Now suppose, just like a human being or any plant, we don't have a proper balance, or we don't have any of this taking place. We're not getting these nutrients to the roots of this tree. What's going to happen to the tree? Starts to die. So if it starts to die, what's the first thing that's going to die? The whole tree is withered up. We're going to see stages and steps. What's that?
Less fruits.
Fruit. First thing that's going to happen, it's not going to produce fruit. Then what happens?
Branches.
And you continue without nourishment, then the branches are going to start dying. Right? So we're going to lose the fruit, and the branch is going to die, and then ultimately what?
The trunk.
The trunk is going to die, and then ultimately the roots die. Dead. Similarly, the human being. If we don't have daily dawah, tarbiyah, ta'lim in our lives, so we're not going to see these fruits. We're complaining, Muslims are mu'amalat, Muslims are mu'asharat, Muslims are akhlaq, behavior. We don't have the process in place. Dawah is not, we're not getting nutrients, we're not getting nourished to produce these fruits in our lives. Similarly, if there's a disbalance, if you don't have the right balance also, if there's an imbalance in the soil, then what happens? It'll show up in the fruit. Maybe the fruit is supposed to be sweet and it comes out sour. Yeah. Or it comes out misformed. So similarly, if we don't have a proper mix here, then our actions, our activities that we produce on a day-to-day basis as individuals or families or communities, it's going to be impacted. You see? No. So that's one thing. The other thing is that when this process begins, what is the first thing that actually is required? Let's look at the life of Nabi Sallallahu or any of the prophets. When they first came into the world, did they start with tarbiyah? Did they start with ta'lim? Did they start with dawah or what? Dawah. If you remember, yesterday we talked about the tanbih, the tanabbuh, awakening. Imam Ghazali talks about, the first thing that happens is an awakening. That awakening comes generally. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give awakening directly to whoever He likes. But generally what happens is, when we listen to dawah, we tend to awaken from our slumber, from our negligence, from our ghafla. And when this dawah starts, and the first thing that happens is what? They start to think. As our sister said, oh, yes, there's a creator, there's a creation. I was born and I'm going to die. And then after death, what happens? Qabr, Hashr, Nashr, Jannah, Jannah. So as this dawah continues, this figure, and as we start thinking, and we're going to do a little exercise, inshallah, the next one after this, we're going to actually think about it. When we think about the creation, we look around all of this, we see the universe, trees, the mountains, the streams, and then ourselves, universes. There's a creator. And He has created a magnificent creation, and apparently it's all in service to me, to us, the human beings. So as we continue this process, this fikr turns into some understanding about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about our existence and about the purpose of life. And as this process continues, this will develop into iman, a tasdeeq, a verification that there is a creator. There is a silsila of prophets. There is a chain of prophets and prophetic messages. Right? And there is a life after death. And after life, there's consequences. And if this continues, this process, this iman becomes yaqeen, certainty. Nabi Sallallahu he asked the Sahaba, كيف أصبحت? He asked one Sahaba, how did you wake up this morning? He said, أصبحت مؤمنا حقا يا رسول الله. He said, I woke up as a true mu'min. So that's a statement. That statement needs some verification. Can you verify, that this is your condition? He said, yes. He said, I've spent my days fasting. I've spent my nights standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's as though I see the people in Jannah and they're enjoying it. I see the people in Jahannam and they're being punished. And it's as though I'm looking at the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in front of me, manifesting. You understood. Keep on it. So, this took place as a result of a process. Da'wah. We don't just hear a PowerPoint presentation and all of a sudden we become mu'mineen haqqan, It's a process, day in and day out. Da'wah, tabligh, da'wah, tabligh. As a tree grows, it takes time, A good tree, fruit-bearing tree, it takes 5 to 7 years before it actually produces any fruit. And therefore, this tree also is going to take time. 13 years, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam continued this process. Fikr was developed, ma'rifah, iman, yaqeen. Then they learned ikhlas. We all hear this, we all know this. We have to do everything for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does any of us, can we, claim that we do anything really totally solely for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We don't have any other, objectives, that have made their way into our actions. That's a very difficult thing to do. Extremely difficult. It requires a very high level of iman, really. We will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is manifest, everything in front of us is like we're looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the lens of His creation, through the lens of, what's going on, the events. We see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala behind that. That requires a very high level of iman. And that high level of iman comes through a process. It needs to be going on daily, in our houses, in our masjids, in our places of work, everywhere. So as this process continues, then, when we're sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then and only then we'll be sincere to His creation, nasiha. Being sincere to the creation, people say, it's about being sincere to help the creation. If you don't know the Creator, you're not sincere to Him, then why would you be sincere to His creation? It might feel good for a while when the going gets tough, It's like my life or your life, or, you're not appreciating what I'm doing for you. So forget it, I'm not going to. But when we're doing everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we serve the creation because it is a branch of servitude to the Creator. That's what the creation say. So it's immaterial. They thank us, they curse us. They appreciate us, they reject us. It doesn't matter. Because we're not doing it for the creation per se, we're doing it for the pleasure of the Creator. So that level of awareness is going to come again in the process. Then you see I've got Sharia way up here in the top. You say, well, Sharia comes from Al-Abeen, we have to enforce Sharia. Is that how it happened in the sequence of events in Makkah and Medina? Under the guidance and the process initiated by Rasulullah. When did Sharia come? Did it come in Makkah? Halal, haram, interest, zakat, even Hajj. When did that come? It came after 13, 14, 15, 16, 20 years of this process. Finally we start seeing some of these fruits. So when there's a high level of iman, we have a class, we believe for the sake of Allah, then we can actually implement the laws and regulations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Case in point. We have here in the United States a period known as the Roaring Twenties. Have you heard of that? The Roaring Twenties. Heard of that? Okay, no problem. I heard of it, you didn't hear of it. But it was roaring for a variety of reasons. Number one, it was roaring economically because it was just before the Great Depression. So before the Great Depression, there was a big bubble. So it was a huge, economic, bubble going on, and that was pretty roaring. And then it broke with the Depression. At the same time, the most important part of that was it was roaring with gunfire. Yes. Because that was the era of prohibition. Have you ever heard of the prohibition? Actually, the government, the United States government came to the conclusion that alcohol is very, very detrimental and destructive to society. And so therefore we're going to prevent it. We're going to pass legislature to stop its use. Unfortunately, they didn't have this process in place. They didn't prepare the people for this legislature. And my premise is that legislature never in human history changed human behavior. Think about it. Has legislature passing a law changed anyone's behavior ever? Does it have the ability to do that? Never. It never will. So what are you trying to say? Are you saying that legislature is useless? No. Legislature has a place and is effective for the protection of the people that want to live by that legislature. So the United States was not prepared to live by a legislature of prohibition. No one was ready to give up drinking alcohol. So what happened was, once they made it illegal, so people started making it illegal. And that's the beginning of the mafia. Everybody's heard of the mafia, right? You know where the mafia began? Began with faulty legislature. Faulty legislature developed or prompted the establishment of the mafia. You have these Italian families that are very good at making alcohol, so they made it for themselves, they made it for their friends, their relatives, and they started selling it. Then their turf, was expanded. Then another family started, their turf expanded. Then we had competition between these families and their turfs. And then, have you heard of who's from Harvard Business School? Who do you have from Harvard Business School? Any business school for that. Who's an MBA? Have you ever heard the term eliminate the competition?
Heard that.
No. Well, it's kind of figurative in speech, usually in business school, but actually it really becomes literal, becomes eliminating, and that's exactly, they were eliminating physically competition. And so you had gang wars all over the major cities of the United States as a result of faulty legislature. Now we have the same legislature was also legislated in Medina Munawwara. But the difference was this process had been going on for over a decade and a half. So when that legislature came in Medina, the prohibition of alcohol, who had it in their mouth, they spit it. Who had it in their hand, they threw it. Who had it in their house, they dumped it in the streets. The streets of Medina were flowing wine. A caravan was coming from Syria, laden with wine. It was just a caravan of wine, that's it. One Sahabi had left Medina and he met that caravan on the way. He said, "You don't know that wine has been forbidden." So the owner of that caravan, being a man of Iman who had gone through this process, took out his dagger and just stabbed him. Just put holes in all of those containers, and all of that wine just right into the desert sand. Now, had that been one of us, who were somewhat religious, we would have went to the Mufti Sahib. Mufti, this is an issue. We want to find some help for this. What kind of solution do you have, right? Solution for them was Atiullah, Ati Rasul. This was an opportunity for them. This was an opportunity to really make a huge investment in the bank account of Akhirah. And so that's because that was their level of Iman. They had become embodiments of Ubudiyya. And their profitability was in the extent of their Ubudiyya, to the extent that I can be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, therein lies my profit. Therein lies my benefit and success. So this didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen with a 20-minute presentation. It happened through years of process of dawah, tarbiyah, ta'aleem, dawah, continuously. And then we see all of these branches develop beautifully, and we saw all those fruits. We saw all of those beautiful actions and activities and qualities in the Ummah. And now, because we don't have, if we will again start this process, initiate this process and do it properly, then we'll have this. We'll have when did you do Sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't change. We put into the process that he was shown by Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we'll get those fruits. We'll have a strong tree. We'll have those fruits. The process has to be there. Okay, last thing that I'd like to talk about here. A tree, generally speaking, the trees that we see around us, the branches that first appear are the ones at the top or the ones on the side. Lower branches appear first or the top? Upper branches appear first. Usually, there are trees that don't grow like that, but most trees, the trees at the top are the ones you see first. And what was the first thing that was initiated in actual Ubudiyya in the Sharia of Islam? So, we're going to work on that a little bit, inshallah, later. First thing we're going to be asked about. The first thing we're going to be asked about the day of Qiyamah after Iman is Salat. So it's right at the very top. And all these ibadat, and those are the first things that we saw. We saw that this come later. Later on is the process you will continue. Also, interestingly, Nabi Sallallahu mentions, and probably you all heard this hadith, Buniyat Islam ala khams. Islam is built on 5 foundational pillars. You've heard that hadith? 5 pillars of Islam. What are the 5 pillars of Islam? Kalima, Salat, Zakat, Hajj, fasting, Allah. So, Nabi Sallallahu said 5 pillars. Now, the thing is that all those pillars are ibadat. None of those are muamalat, muasharat, akhlaq, adab, not even halal, haram, sharia, nothing. Hudud. So, that's kind of problematic, isn't it? We said Islam is a total way of life and 5 pillars, that's it. They're all ibadat. What happened to the rest of this stuff?
If you basically do all those ibadat with sincerity, the rest is basically, the rest will just follow.
Absolutely. Did Nabi Sallallahu say Islam is 5 things, or he said it's built on 5 things? Built on 5 things. It's 5 things. Just like this Islamic Center of Boston is built on 20 pillars, suppose. So now what we do is now, it's 20 degrees, outside, and we have now constructed 20 pillars. And now we send out, this announcement that the Islamic Center of New England is now ready to roll, and it's up for, functioning, and so we call everybody for the grand opening. So they all come in and they see 20 pillars, no roof, no carpet, no anything. Would people appreciate that? Right? No. This is Islam is 5 pillars, this is 20 pillars, so we've got it. We have pillars, we don't have the whole structure. So you may have all the pillars, but you still require the rest of the structure, right? Now suppose we do the opposite. Actually, if you look around, you don't really see the pillars, do you? So you know what? So I started thinking that, why do we waste so much time and money, and why don't we just save time and money? We probably save $100,000. Forget the pillars, you don't even see it anyway. So let's just throw up the walls, throw up the roof, or we can make 2-3 stories, We're saving a lot of time and money, and then again, we call for the grand opening, And so Abdul Rahman gives this really, really hyper, khutbah and everybody lets out a big takbir, Allahu Akbar, and the whole building starts shaking and collapse. So the grand opening is the grand ending. You know? So what happened? Without foundation, the structure cannot support it. It will collapse. And this is what is actually happening in most of these Islamic movements. We don't have the foundation. We don't have these things. And as a result of that, we talk grand things, which are good things, but they don't sustain, because there's no strong foundation to support those, sustain those initiatives. Right? So, why, the last question is, why these ibadat are the pillars? Why not some other things would be taught? Why not muamalat and marsharat? How about this? What about those? Those could be the pillars. Why is ibadat only? Maybe sharia, maybe halal haram, maybe something else. Why ibadat?
Ibadah is for Allah.
Ibadat is for Allah, but I mean everything, we're doing all this for Allah.
The Mubashara is for people and the adab is for the people.
Okay.
Because also ibadat is unique to this.
It's unique. That's true. But there's something very, very, very starkly connected, you know.
It is the ibadat will basically develop the character for you to basically do this.
We are created for what? What's the purpose of our creation? We're here to do what?
Worship Allah.
Ibadah. We're here to do ubudiyah. So what is going to train us to become slaves? Muamalat, marsharat. Here in America, we have better muamalat, marsharat than most Muslims have. But we don't have ubudiyah, that's for sure. We have hurriya, you know, it's my body, it's my whatever, you know. But we got all these things. These are the practices, these are the exercises that will train us to become slaves. If we learn proper salat, we have become virtually, we have become a slave to Allah in every part of our being. Externally, internally, in our minds, in our heart, everything. The concept that this is my wealth, I did this. What are you talking about? This belongs to Allah, but He's giving you as a custodian. So zakat teaches us that, and sadaqah, and these ibadat maliyah teaches that these are not your resources. These belong to Allah, you're a custodian. You're going to be held accountable. Fasting, Allah. It is a comprehensive, training in ubudiyah and ibadah. Can't eat, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it trains us in it, and this empty stomach, and with all these asrar of fasting, just, this is a wonderful, training for it. And then Hajj is a total comprehensive, package of ubudiyah. Labbaik Allah. What do you say? Labbaik Allah, labbaik. Oh my master, my Lord, your slave is here, ready. What do you want from me? That's the whole training, that's the whole purpose, that's the whole thing of Hajj. So these are the things. These are the things that are going to train us to be slaves, and so, as our brother rightly said, when it comes time for marsharat, we'll do it. Muamalat, akhlaq, halal, haram, whatever Allah wants from you. I'm here, Ya Allah. I'm your slave and you're my master. What do you want from me? I'm here to do that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do it. So, this is a great important exercise, and it wasn't an exercise just to be done. So how can we now implement this into our daily lives? How can we actually dawah? How can we have dawah? This is something we need to think about as a community, as family, as individuals. How can we have dawah going on? And dawah is specific. We think everything is dawah, everything is not dawah. Dawah is invitation. Dawah to Allah. Inviting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Talking about the greatness of Allah, His ni'mat, His qudra, His sifat, His asma. Dawah ilallah. Dawah towards the actions which connect us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dawah ila al-a'mal as-salihah. Dawah ila dar al-akhirah. Invitation to the next life, where we have to live forever and ever. As we mentioned last night, that's our eternal goal, that's the real life. So dawah is the invitation to those things. Invitation to the Creator, invitation to the actions that connect us with the Creator. invitation to the world where we'll have to live forever and ever. Akhirat. Ta'aleem is the how. How do we do the things? What is the proper belief set? How do we do ibadah? How do we do mu'amalah? How do we do all of these things? We have to know how. The how of it. And the character and the akhlaq and the inner conditions, the inner kayfiyah that will enable us to actually implement these things. This is tarbiyah. So all of these three efforts have to be going on simultaneously in a balanced way. So we have to figure out how to actually do this as individuals, as families, as communities, as an ummah. And ultimately, as an example for the rest of the world. And for that, we have been called the best ummah who has been sent forth for the benefit of the entire humanity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us that ummah. Those individuals, those families, those communities that become an example for the rest of humanity, and how in need is the humanity for such an example. Okay, any questions on this? Okay, let's have a little discussion. How can we actually, for example, in our homes, could we actually, come up with something that we can do in our homes along these lines? Like what? Dawah. Let's start with dawah. Can we do dawah in our homes?
Yes.
So how can we do that? Yeah?
Remind each other for prayers.
What's that?
Reminding each other for prayers.
Okay, dawah towards prayer. So if we just invite to the prayer, is that going to, probably very constructive? Or so how do you mean, like it's time for prayer? Okay, come on, let's pray. Is that really dawah? So how can we make that a little bit more effective? Yes, we have to. We want to pray, we want all the family to pray. So how can we perhaps make that more effective?
Share the knowledge.
What's that?
Share the knowledge. What is lost.
Share knowledge about that, like knowledge which is going to motivate. You talked about, open raja, tarheeb, tarheeb, We need motivation. So there should be some tarheeb. If we pray, we get in Jannah. If we don't pray, what we may face in Jahannam. Yeah. Right? So that could be a doubt. And then how do we pray? Maybe we get motivated, but we need to, we need to learn how to pray. So we can actually initiate that also in our lives. Tarbiyah. Now to pray, we're going to have to be a little bit more connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, like gadgets, an hour before prayers, shut down, Whether you're going to go into prayer, you're going to be seeing YouTube, videos, And we don't want that. So we're going to have to actually prepare for that. Inshallah, we'll do a little exercise in the day. And we'll try to work on our salah. So like that. So we can come up with stuff, I would invite everybody that, inshallah, when you get home today, gather the family and make a mashwara, okay? So we heard this presentation, how can we actually, and engage everybody. Let, the mother and the father and the kids and brothers and sisters and whoever is living in the household, everybody engage in every mashwara and come up with a program. And let's make it easy and doable, and let's come up with stuff that we can do. Like somebody just, for example, every member of the household could, for example, just an example, since da'wat ilallah is really not so difficult as it sounds. I mean, not everybody can teach how to make salat or teach how that. Ta'aleem is a bit more technical. But da'wah is something everybody can do. For example, look at that tree. Look at that. Can anybody make a tree like that? It dies in the winter time, and then in the summertime it gets leaves, and then it starts producing. Who's doing that? It just does it self. Does the tree have brains, by the way? Does it have a computer system that's showing it how to do that? Who's behind all of that? So we can invite those just by pondering over the creation. We can invite towards the greater. Look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this for us, He created this universe. So we can do an exercise like that. Right? So we can come up with initiatives that we can actually do, and everybody can do, even small children can do. So if we got some type of dawah going on in our homes, and then we got some tarbiyah, we can discuss, with people who have more knowledge about that. How can we set up things of a tarbiyah nature, a ta'lim nature? For example, we have these things going on in the masjid. And then we have a summary of that, and we have a kind of study program that we can initiate in our houses. A summary, suppose, of a program that might be in the masjid or something like that. So we come up with stuff, inshallah. So will you all do that? Inshallah. We go home tonight and we'll all have some little mashwara with our families. We'll come up with some program and write it down. If we don't write it down, it's not going to happen. Believe me. Right? So write it down. Take our notes and write it down. And then say, okay, for example, in the morning, in the evening, before we sleep, after dinner, something we're going to do this. Right? Make it short, sweet, enjoyable. And inshallah, hopefully the next time I come around, we'll see, mashallah, the tree of Al-Abeen has been growing and it's giving wonderful fruits, inshallah. Okay? So, any questions, any comments? Can we move on to the next thing? Yeah.
Yeah, Shaykh, the two things which I feel, that love and fear, I don't see, I see the humility in other fruits, but love and thought is not there.
Yeah. It's not there anywhere, or it's not here in the diagram?
In the tree.
In the tree. What is this? We get love through tarbiyat. Love of Allah, love of Rasul, love of Jannah, love of mankind. It's all tarbiyat. This is all we have nasiha. Nasiha is basically wanting for your brother or sister what you want for yourself. So actually within these things, somebody asked me, we don't see, the 5 pillars of Islam are kalima. We don't see the kalima anywhere here. So do we see the kalima here or not? Huh? Exactly. This tree is a symbol of what? It's a symbol of the kalima. Kalima tayyiba. In the life, alive in the Muslim or Muslim. Right? So the whole tree is actually the kalima. This is all la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul. So we said, what's the big picture we're seeing here? The big picture that we're seeing here is, this is a graphic example of the kalima alive in a Muslim or a Muslim. It could be alive in the family, it could be alive in the community. The kalima. So the whole thing is actually the kalima. Okay? So is that clear? So it's all there, but we have to kind of look under, go into each article with a little bit of introspection, and then we'll find it. It's all there, inshallah. Okay? Anything else? Okay, so we've done the exercise. We heard about challenges. Now the first thing we did was fikr, right? First thing that the process produces is called what? Fikr. How would you like to do an exercise in fikr? No? Would you like to do an exercise in fikr? So let's think a little bit about fikr, because this is where the process begins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم يتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض. Verily, the creation of the skies and the earth and the alternation of the day and the night are signs for those of understanding. And who are they? They're the ones who celebrate the praises of Allah. They remember Allah. They do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, standing, sitting, and reclining, contemplating, reflecting, tafakkur, contemplating the wonders of the skies and the earth. As I probably mentioned, maybe some of you might have heard when I talk about how I came to Islam. One of the things that I used to do as a child, and I still do that, just marveled at the creation. I used to climb up on the mountains and go out in the desert, and just contemplate the creation and marvel at that. And I mentioned, that even though my family, basically, they're mainly atheists, so we were brought up in an atheistic environment. However, just by this sort of contemplation was one of the very kindly just gave me this intuition. So just looking at this creation, I was just feeling this idea that there's an unbelievable creator behind all of this. And then ultimately, so how do we connect with that creator? So this is a very powerful, generally we talk about Iman and how to build Iman, and as we heard from the process with Dawud and Fikr and Tarbiyah, the first thing that happens is Fikr, we start thinking, pondering. So we're going to do a little exercise in Fikr. And this is something that everybody can do. And so what we're going to do is, and now alhamdulillah, the weather has gotten nice, and we have a beautiful environment here to do this exercise. Not everybody has such a nice environment. Sometimes we have these places that are just like concrete jungles, and we go out and we try and do this. It's different. We have a beautiful environment. So what we're going to do is, everybody's going to go out, and we'll like to go one direction, the ladies will go one direction, but this is an exercise which is individual. No one is allowed to actually be with anyone else or talk to anyone else. Everyone has to be by themselves in this exercise, okay? So the men, what is this? The ladies will go that side, and then men will go this side. And you can spread out, we'll give you time. What we're going to do, everyone by themselves, no talking, shut your phones off, nobody look at your phones, no talking, no discussion. With thicker and vigor, we just go out and we look at something in the creation. It can be anything. Okay? Anything that we see, just look at it, ponder over it, think about it. And number one, we want to identify Qudratullah in that thing. Okay? What power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do I see manifest in this particular thing? And try to identify that. Okay? Okay, second thing, we want to think about this thing a bit further and see, is there some wisdom that I can ascertain in this thing? I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's unlimited wisdom, is it manifesting in this particular creation in some way or another? What would that be? And jot that down. And lastly, what is the ni'mah? What is the blessing? What is the benefit that I'm getting or somebody or the creation somewhere is getting from this thing? Okay? So three things. We want to see the qudrat of Allah, we want to see the hikmah, the wisdom of Allah, and we want to also identify the blessing of Allah in that particular thing. Okay? So just go out there and find something, focus on anything that comes in your, into view, and identify these three things, and then come back, and then we're going to share our reflections. What did we see, and how did you see the qudrat and hikmah and ni'mah in that particular thing that you focused on? Okay, is that clear? Understand? Okay, so it's now, what? It's now 3 o'clock, right? So we'll give 10 minutes should be more than sufficient. So everybody go by themselves, nobody go with anybody else, everybody walk individually, find something, ponder on it, and then come back. Inshallah, 3:10, we'll start our session again. Okay? Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, inshallah, stop. Okay, it's just about time, so then we'll reassemble. Jazakumullah khair. And we'd like one or two of our brothers and sisters to share their experience. What did they focus on, and how did they actually observe qudrat and hikmah and ni'mat in whatever it is that they were observing? So who would like to start that? Would you like to do that? Okay, so you come here and then you speak in the microphone.
So I thought about the river over there. I think that it's a blessing.
So what's the thing that you focused on?
The river.
The river. Okay.
And I looked at the flowing water and how there are animals living in it, and the soil is like rich, where there's plants and like where things can live, like not have a hard time in dry lands. So that's what I looked at.
Yeah, so did you see some power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that?
Yeah, like how fast the river was flowing, and like the power of like where did it start and where does it end, and like
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just doing that, right? Yeah. Some wisdom.
I
There's
think
wisdom of making these kind of things.
it was wise to do this because it'll give a lot of animals like a place to live and like not leave them dying here and there. So
Yeah. What about ni'mat? Some blessing that for us also. You mentioned about the creatures.
we can get clean water, like we can also get electricity like from water mills and filter, we can filter the water and grow crops, make food.
So many things there in the river. So is this the first time you saw a river? So what happened today? Did you see a river yesterday? Did you see it like that?
I actually come to Sunday school here, so I see it every single Sunday.
Every Sunday. So did you
Right.
see it last Sunday like that?
Yeah.
You did? You saw all that stuff that you're telling me now?
Yes. But I didn't like think about it because I thought I was gonna stay there. Like I've seen it for like 5 years.
So today you looked at it a little bit different, huh? MashaAllah, wonderful. Jazakumullah khair. Wonderful. Jazakumullah. Someone else would like to share some other thing that they saw? Yeah.
So I come here.
Yeah. What is the thing that we saw and the three components?
I look at the sun.
I hope you didn't look at it directly.
No, that's the light of the sun. So it is in terms of its the power. In terms of the power of sun, Allah created the sun, the star, enough small or enough big for us to survive. And the wisdom is the way it is distant. Like if it is a little closer, it will be burned out. If it is a little far away, it will be cold out. The blessing is without that, nothing we can't do here.
So again, is this the first time you saw the sun?
No.
So did we see the sun yesterday?
Yes.
Did we see it like that?
No, I didn't look into the three lenses.
So what happened today?
Started asking about the purpose and thinking about the
We did tafakkur. We did tafakkur. This is how we want to look at everything. We look at it. Inshallah. Right? Jazakumullah khair. Let's have an example from the ladies. Yeah. Which of the ladies would like to share? Yeah. Okay.
I noticed the snow.
What did you see?
The snow.
The snow. Okay.
And it's special because the snowflakes are all in different shapes. And it comes in winter and not in many other seasons. And
So that's the qudrat of Allah, the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did you see the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that snow some kind of way?
it was really cold. And it's all around the ground and the trees.
Okay.
And it's mostly everywhere, but not inside.
But not inside. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So some hikmah, some Could you identify some wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why is doing that? Or is there some special wisdom involved in snow?
Yellow season.
Well, you know, if you go to the big mountains, you see this lot of snow. There's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet of snow. And it stays there all year. And it's like, you know, the refrigerators on the top of the earth. And we're getting water that's coming down there all year long. If those weren't there, then what would we do? Where would the water come from?
The water comes from the snow.
Well, some does, but a lot of water is coming from that. So if we think about it, we can come up with a lot of wisdom, right? Also, God does everything very wisely, huh?
Yeah.
And what about benefit? Some benefit for you or anyone or the creation from the snow?
Some animals, they need snow to survive. Like polar bears.
That's right.
Penguins.
Okay.
Penguins need snow.
Do you benefit from the snow? Do you make snowmen?
Yeah.
Have snowball fights? You do that? We used to do that when we were kids. Yeah? So, did you see snow yesterday?
No, because I live in a different town.
Oh, you live in a different town. Did you see snow before?
Yeah.
Did you see snow like that? Did you think about the snow before, like you thought about it today?
No.
No. So what happened today?
Today I thought about it more.
Thought about it. Okay. Now, any other ladies would like to share? Any other? No? Yeah.
When I went outside, I noticed the wind. And the way it was blowing, it would move the trees and the leaves and the plants slightly, but it would the plants wouldn't come out of the ground. It would move and then it would stop all of a sudden. And I also noticed how when I was standing, the sun was shining right in my face. But I couldn't feel the heat of it. I still felt the cold.
So, Qudrat of Allah, how did you see the Qudrat of Allah in the wind?
In the wind, I noticed how it was powerful, but when I focused on the wind itself, I didn't feel cold anymore. I just felt the wind and the power of Allah.
And some hikmah, some wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Some wisdom. I noticed that the wind can be used for electricity and power, like for windmills, and it can give people energy.
And blessings and benefit that we get from the wind?
Energy that you can use if you had a windmill, there's like wheels, and the
How about in the summer when it's very hot and there's no wind?
The wind can cool you down. It's a nice breeze. It feels really good.
So, did you see wind like that yesterday or before?
No,
So what happened today?
it was very strong.
No, but I mean the way that you saw the wind.
Oh, the wind. When you focus on the wind, it's not just like the cold. It's something
So you thought about it more deeply today?
Yes.
Yeah. So did you find that more sort of,
It was more
empowering?
empowering, yes. I felt them empowering me to focus on just the wind instead of just blowing.
Instead of just taking it for granted. Wind, sun, rivers. Jazakumullah khair. Very good. Okay, now we have another little exercise, which is a little more abstract. So, I have this microphone. Can we do the same exercise with this microphone?
What do you mean by the same exercise?
Yeah, same exercise. Qudrat
Oh,
Allah,
okay.
its wisdom and blessing. Where do you see the Qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this microphone? This is made by, Sennheiser. So Mr. Sennheiser made this thing. So where's the Qudrat of Allah in this thing, Allah created the brain that actually, the engineer who made this, when this engineer who engineered this thing, when he came out of his mother's womb, he didn't even know his own name, right? And so subhanAllah, that is actually given tawfiq to this human being to do something like that. Allam al-insan ma'alam, ya Allah. Okay, and hikmat?
You're talking very slow, but we hear it too loud.
What's that?
No, but you speak a little slower, but it amplifies the voice.
And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hikmah is that He wants His message to be heard more. I mean, you think about it. So it's not like it's doing these things itself. There's some hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala behind all of that, And then the ni'mah, the blessing, I think that's quite apparent. So the point is that these are things that we notice every day. We see the wind every day, we see the snow every day, we see the tree, the river, but we don't think about it. We don't reflect. So this exercise of reflection is something that we should, develop. It should be, a daily. It should be our habit. In fact, everything that we see, we reflect on it. Whatever happens to us, we reflect on it. These are tangible things. What about circumstances? Circumstances also they just happen. Or is everything under the design of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan? So do we actually, it's coronavirus, is that just happening? Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has some plan in there, Right? All these things, you see. So we need to develop. And this fikr is also, as we said, this process of da'wat, tarbiyat and ta'aleem, it's a kind of tarbiyat, self-tarbiyat. We go and ponder over things that we look at, situations, we try and see behind them. Then this exercise will develop our iman, develop our yaqeen, develop our, connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We reflect. So, this particular, and this is an exercise that our pious ancestors were very particular about. And they used to exercise it continuously, and they have some very interesting things to say about that. So Al-Abeen al-Masruq al-Tusi, he says, Shajaratul Ma'rifah tusqa bima'il fikra. The tree of Ma'rifah, do you remember Ma'rifah? To gain some understanding about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And through that understanding, gain a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is actually irrigated by the water of fikr. The same process that we did today, if we go on looking at everything like that, that will, develop our understanding, our closeness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the medium of His creation, thinking about the creation. Okay? Alamatul mu'min arba, kalamuhu dhikr, samtuhu tafakkur, nadruhu ibra, amaluhu ghayr. Shaykh Abu Bakr al-Warraq, rahimahullah. He says the signs of a mu'min, the signs of a person of iman are four. Number one, his speech is dhikr. He doesn't just talk nonsense. Whatever he says is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's like everything he says is a kind of dhikr of Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us that ability. Number two, his silence is fikr. He looks like he's silent, but actually he's thinking. He's pondering with the creation. He's pondering with the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's talking about this ni'mas. Okay? And his sight is ibra. Whatever he sees, as we did that exercise, he sees, you see, it's an ibra. It's a reflection, reflective seeing, reflective looking and observation. And as a result, all of his actions are righteous actions. That's a self form of tarbiyat which he's doing. Right? So, Allah. شر العارف ثلاثة أشياء بالنظر إلى معبوده مستأنسا به والملاحظة لمننه وفوائده شاكرا به والتذكر لذنبه معترفا به منيبا تائبا إليه. So the engagement of Arif is in three things. So there must be some reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has separated that T from that. The engagement of the Arif, the person who knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has intimate connection with Allah, his engagement with Allah is based on three different things. Number one, in focusing his gaze on the one he worships, focusing his gaze on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who he worships, intimately attaching to him. And this is how he does it. And observing his bounties and benefits and thanking him. He reflects on these ni'mas that are all surrounding, within him, without him. And he thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by tongue, by action, by utilizing them in the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And finally, in the recollection of his sins, acknowledging them and returning in repentance to him. On the one hand, he's seeing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so kind to him, gave him existence, gave him, these ni'mas which cannot be computed by the computer system of the world. And what is our reciprocation? Allah has done all this for us, and how do we reciprocate? By disobedience, by negligence, by harshness, etc. So we are constantly, reflecting on Allah's bounties to us and reflecting on our, weaknesses and our, incapacity of thinking this world, and our sins and our shortcomings. And as a result, we istighfar and tawbah continuously. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me all us tawfiq. Amen. Okay? Allah. This is very interesting. العبرة أن تجعل كل حاضر غائبا والفكرة أن تجعل كل غائب حاضر. Ibrat, reflection is like making everything seen unseen. And fikra is to make everything unseen seen. So what does that mean? Ibrat, seeing, taking, reflecting is to actually seeing everything seen unseen. We went out and we looked at the things that we were looking at. What were we doing actually? We were looking at the tree, but we were looking not really at the tree, we were looking at what?
Creator.
The creator of the tree. We looked at the unseen. So we're looking at the seen, but we're looking beyond the seen and looking into the unseen, from where the seen is actually coming from. And so we need to do with everything that we see. We don't see the thing, we see the creator who has created the thing, who has brought the situation into existence, etc. And fikra is to make everything unseen seen. A pondering, reflecting and pondering. So what do we do? Make the unseen seen. Meaning, Nabi Sallallahu says, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as though you see Him. Hope for the Jannah like you see it. Be afraid of the fire of Jahannam like you see it. Think about the grave and what happens in the grave as though you are seeing it. So making everything unseen as though we see it by reflecting upon it, pondering or fikr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us all tawfiq. These are all very, very powerful iman building exercises. So if we incorporate this in our daily life and start looking at everything like this, we're going to feel the pulse of our iman rising, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us all tawfiq. So we have about half an hour or so. And any reflection on this? Any questions? On this fikr exercise? Yes. Of? Fikr is like a pondering. Ibrat. Reflecting. To see something, see behind the scenes, Take lesson from what we see. We say, he's taking a lesson from something he sees. In other words, something that is not actually manifest physically. We see beyond that, and we see something which is, taking lesson from what we see. Yeah. Excuse me?
It seems like they're the same.
It is kind of. So it's just like, but these two dimensions actually, what is intended here is not really to differentiate between the two words, it's trying to differentiate between the two concepts. In other words, what we're seeing, we don't see the thing which is manifest, we don't focus on that, we focus on its origin. We see beyond the seen, right? And those things that we should be focused on from the unseen, we make it as though we're seeing it, you know? So these two dimensions. And basically, Iman is believing in what we don't see. It's as though we're seeing it. This is a book in which there's guidance for the people of taqwa. Who are they? The first quality is they believe in the unseen. And that level of belief will be higher and higher until that unseen is as though we see it, you know? That's one that gives that tawfiq. Is that clear? Anything else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, is it like for the entire humanity, like everyone has the ability to have the hikmah, or like there will be some group of people who will have that one, some will not have that one?
Some people who will?
Some of the people will have the hikmah, like to see the unseen.
Yeah.
Like ponder upon it, and some of the group, because of like the way Allah created people, they may not see it. So
they may not.
So it will happen.
As a matter of fact, most of the people don't. So, if we have been given ability to see something, it is actually not because of our special, inherent quality. It is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us some special favor. ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. That is the favor Allah gives to whom He likes. And that is itself, the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so it's our job to, if we have been blessed by such understanding, we've been given this opportunity, for example, just to sit here and discuss this. This is, a great gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to be thankful and grateful for that. That's what will give us that tawfiq. Okay? So would you like to do one more exercise? Practical exercise. So we want to practice our salah. We mentioned in the tree, the first and foremost thing is what salah. That the first thing that actually came to us as Muslims in terms of tashri'ah. The first thing that we were taught, the first thing that Nabi Sallallahu gave to us and was shown to us after Iman was salah. So we want to practice that salah. Okay? So let's look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about salah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون. And this ayah goes on to explain other qualities of the people of Iman. It begins with salat and it ends with salat. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَىٰ صَلَوَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. So it begins with salat with khushu' and it ends with the preservation and the looking after of salat in all its conditions and all its format. Successful indeed are the believers who humble themselves in salat. And finally, and they who carefully maintain their prayers. So within their prayers, they are khashia, they are focused. The greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, empowers them and their connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and their relation is developed within that salat. And that salat, they are particularly to preserve it on its time, its conditions, with proper knowledge. Outward and inward characteristics. They are very careful about that. We learn about a lot of things, but this is the most important lesson we need to learn after Iman. How to offer salat like this, because our success depends on that. And also it's interesting, qad aflah. This is actually past tense. They have succeeded. The people of Iman have already succeeded if they have a salat like this. So it's like, it's a done deal, as we say, Somebody says, you have a special worker for you, you have a special, we call him, troubleshooter. You've got a guy working for an employee, you got a problem. Abdullah, take care of it. Boss, it's done, don't worry about it. Right? Now, Abdullah, he might do it, he might not. he really certain that he can do. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's done, it is done. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you develop salat like this, you have succeeded. It means without any vestige of doubt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives tawfiq and yaqeen. إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر. Verily, salat prevents from all that is lewd and reprehensive. In itself is an amazing tarbiyah, salat itself. But not any salat. This salat, with khushu and khudu'. We see many people making salat. We perhaps ourselves, we offer salat, and we still, do wrong things. Abdullah ibn Abbas says something to the effect that the salat which does not prevent its performer, the person who's offering the salat, from this lewd and iniquitous action, from wrong behavior, it's not a real salat. If it was a real salat, it would have this impact, definitely. So if we find ourselves, disobedient, we find our families disobedient, we find the ummah, the first thing we need to rectify is our connection with our salat. That salat has that wonderful capacity to connect us with Allah and correct our behavior, inwardly and outwardly. فخلف من بعدهم خلف أضاعوا الصلاة واتبعوا الشهوات فسوف يلقون غيا. And talking about the former ummahs, and this is actually happened to this ummah to a large extent as well. So ummahs who had come before, because every ummah was given these usul of belief and usul of diyanat, and among them salat, number one. And they were succeeded by a posterity, the former peoples who came and were given the prophetic message. They followed it, and thereafter a posterity, generations came after, who squandered away that salat, destroyed it, and followed their desires, and hence they will meet with the consequence of their deviation. It's also mentioned in Tafsir that the ghayr is a wadi, it's a valley in Jahannam that's filled with the blood and the pus that is flowing from the people who are being punished therein. So, tarheeb and tarheeb. Nabi Sallallahu says, أول ما يحاسب به العبد يوم القيامة من أعماله الصلاة فإن صلحت فقد أفلح ونجا وإن فسدت فقد خاب وخسر. The first of man's deeds to be called to account on the day of resurrection will be salat. If it's found perfect, he will have passed and succeeded. And if incomplete, he will have failed and lost. Again, salat which is full of khushu and khudu', humility, devotion, concentration. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in very succinct terms he mentions, a salat nur, prayer is light. Salat khair wudu', salat is the best thing we can engage in, the best affair. And as we mentioned earlier, this salat is not any salat, it's salat with khushu and khudu', it's devotion. So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that salat with khushu and khudu', that is the salat in which we'll find our succession, inshallah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, Hafidu ala salat wa salat al-wusta wa qumu lillahi qaniteen. Maintain with care the obligatory prayers, and particularly the middle prayer. Generally it's mentioned in books of tafsir, this is the salat al-asr. This is when people get busy in their offices, ladies in their kitchen, what have you. And so we tend to either forget it, or it gets late, we lose our time, or we lose our khushu and khudu'. We're so busy and engaged in things around us. So this is a test and a trial. To disengage and engage in what we've been created for directly. And stand before Allah devoutly and obediently. So we want to practice that. And we're going to do this exercise, inshallah. Another interesting hadith. إن الرجل ينصرف وما كتب له إلا عشر صلاته تسرها كلها سرها سدسها ربعها ثلثها نصفها. Indeed, a person proceeds after he completes his salat. I mean, he's taken all this time, make wudu, come to the masjid, spend the time, effort. However, he only gets a 10th or a 9th or an 8th or 7th or a small portion or a larger portion of his salat according to the quality of that salat. So it's not just, our salat, it's how do you go with the quality of the salat. And the prescription, one of the most important and effective prescriptions that Nabi Sallallahu gave us to perform a very powerful and very effective salah is, as he mentioned in this hadith, صلي صلاة المضيع كأنك تراه فإن كنت لا تراه فإنه يراك. Nabi Sallallahu mentioned to offer the salah to the one saying farewell to the world. Suppose Malik al-Mulk comes to anyone and says, look, you got 5 minutes, then I'm taking your soul. So you have 5 minutes to offer 2 rakats of salah. So what kind of salah do we offer at that time? This is it. We're going. We're leaving. The last chance we have to get close to Allah, to atone for our sins, etc. What kind of salah do we offer? There was a fellow. He was, he had some type of symptoms of some strange, thing. And so he went to the, this is in Yemen. So he went to, what they call the Hakim or Tabib, traditional doctor, And so that doctor, took his pulse. Said, sorry, I don't have anything for you. You have a very serious case and, it's like 4 months, that's all you're going to do. Come on, don't you have some kind of lives, some kind of medicine? We don't have anything for what you have. It's sorry, 4 months, that's it. So now this guy, come on, doc, give me a break, So, no, sorry. So now this guy, 4 months, and then that's it. So can you imagine now? He's going to be enjoying his food, he's going to be enjoying his sleep, Forgot about food, he forgot about his sleep all night, praying and all day fasting, and sadaqah, spending, and this zikr and tilawah and charity, and 4 months goes by, then 5 months, and 6 months, still okay. So he goes back to the tabib and says, see how the Hakim said, it's 6 months, you give me 4 months, so it's 6 months already. He said, well, you have a problem with that? I said, no. He said, so the doctor told me, he said, you know what? Actually, there wasn't anything wrong with you. You were just overweight. So I told you, don't eat this, don't eat that. You never would have done that. But I said, you had 4 months. Now look at you. You gained about 300 pounds. He's weighing about 60 pounds now. And he's fine. So this fellow, look at how he molded his life. He totally changed it because he thinks he has 4 months to live. And none of us know that we have 4 seconds to live. So actually, one of the salats that we're offering is going to actually be the last salat. It may very well be this one. So it's not like this is some, fantasy. This is like a reality. Because there will be a salat. If it's not this one, it's the next one. And this will be our last salat. So it's very well that this is the last chance I have to really get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how would I offer salat in that scenario? So inshallah we're going to practice that a little bit. And to help us do that, we'll see a story. This is a story of one of our pious ancestors, and he's explaining about how he used to offer his salat. And this is the salat of Shaykh Hashim Ahmad. So he says, when the time of salat approaches, with utmost sincerity and perfection, I perform wudu. So he doesn't actually wait until he gets to the masjid and starts his salat. He starts from wudu. So now I've already in the mindset of salat and performing that wudu, all the limbs are being, cleaned, and all the sins are being removed from all the various parts of the body and so on. So already that consciousness and attention is there, starting with wudu. Then he starts moving to the place of salat in that same, mindset. When reaching the place of salat, I stand with the utmost composure as though I am facing Kaaba. And my feet are on sirat. The sirat, the bridge over Jahannam that everybody has to pass. We all have to go over that, And if we don't get over it, we fall into Jahannam. So he's seeing himself, on that sirat. He's seeing Kaaba in front of him. He's seeing himself, treading that sirat. And then he sees Jannah on the right. He said, you make the unseen seen. That's exactly what he's doing. He makes the Jannah to his right. He sees the Jahannam on his left. He sees the Malakal Maut, on his head. This is your last salah. Thinking this will be the last salah that I'm going to perform. And only Allah knows the state of my heart therein. How he's actually, his state of mind and heart, he's not able to explain that. So overpowered with the, overawed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's magnanimity and this maqam standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't even explain that in words. Then he says, Allahu Akbar, what comes to humility? Allahu Akbar. Everything else is asghar. Everything else is totally insignificant. It's only Allah. So that Allahu Akbar, that's how he said it. Pondering over the meanings of the Quran. We don't have to really know Arabic language to be able to ponder over some basic meanings of the Quran. For example, we always say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, right? Fatiha. So who doesn't know what Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin? Who doesn't know what that means? Everybody knows, right? We can ponder over that. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, who doesn't know what that means? Everybody. Maliki Yawmiddin, think about that. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. So if we concentrate, we can, even if we don't know the Arabic language per se, there's a lot of the Quran that we can actually understand. And if we don't understand, we can, the magnanimity of those words, we can do that. So he's pondering over the meanings of the Quran, every word that he says, every phrase that he says, he's thinking about it, pondering. This is the way Nabi Sallallahu started with Salah. When there was a dhikr of Allah's rahmah, he would ask Allah for that. When there was a mention of Allah's adab or punishment of those ungratefuls, slip, and he would ask Allah refuge for that. Humbly and submissively performing ruku and sujood, continuing serenely with composure throughout my salah to its completion, thinking about everything I'm saying and all movements, I'm cognizant of who I'm standing with, who I'm communicating with, who I'm talking to. Hoping for its acceptance. And now in a prayer like this, he says, I'm hoping Allah will accept it. I don't know. Maybe. And I'm fearing that maybe Allah will reject it. It looks like I did the best I could do. Maybe it's not up to the standard of Allah wants. So having between that hope and fear, he finishes this. So somebody asks him, okay, how long have you been offering salat like that? He says, well, for the last 30 years. Okay? That's one going to give us one salat like that. So here's a few pointers that we could also mention. So start with wudu, clear mind and heart, niyat, focus, starting from the very wudu. The longer we stay in that mind and heart set, the more it's going to impact our salat. Maintain that mind and heart set while going towards salat. Whether we're walking, whether we're riding in the car, trying to remain in that mindset. Okay? Turn off all the other, internal dialogue, all these gadgets and all these things. Now we're focusing, we're going to stand in front of Allah and communicate directly with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And then we say takbir, focus on it. Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater than anything one can imagine and anyone can explain. Everything else is insignificant for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So have this, when we say takbir, try and focus on it. Focus on mind and heart. Resist all other thoughts. There's a special shaitan, that's all he does, is he goes to people and messes up their salah. There's no other work. Really. This is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari. So, we know that that's going to happen, so we prepare for that. Defend ourselves. As we said last night, shaitan is our enemy. Protect ourselves from our enemy. So he's going to come and whisper things, so we have to resist that with all the effort that we have. Focus on the meanings of the Quran and the adhkar, the various things that we say. And if we don't know, we would do well to learn the basic meanings of those things. And as I mentioned, if we just ponder a little bit, we already know quite a lot of that. Okay? A motionless body. Eyes at the place of sajda and qiyam. We're standing, eyes at the place of sajda and qiyam. Between the feet and ruku, when we're going to ruku, our eyes should be fixed. If we learn to control our eyes in salat, inshallah, we'll control them outside of salat. We control our thoughts inside salat, inshallah. We control them outside. So it's a holistic training. Inwardly and outwardly. Between our hands in sajda, keeping our eyes fixed there. In our lap in jalsa, keeping our eyes fixed in those places. Ending our salat with hope and fear, as Shaykh Hashim also mentioned. Okay, doing the best of the possible we can. Okay, we're going to do a little exercise, inshallah, before Salat al-Asr, which is at 4 o'clock, inshallah. So we have around 10 minutes. So if we don't have wudu, let's try and make wudu like we just heard. If we have our wudu, then let's try and offer that salat. So what I'll do is, I'll keep, which slide would you like to have? Would you like to have this, or you might like to take pictures of both? Let's think about it a little bit. Take a minute or two, just sort of ponder over this, and picture ourselves doing like this kind of thing, and then we're going to practice 2 rakats of salat before Salat al-Asr. Okay? And we're going to try and replicate this kind of salat. Right after Salat al-Asr, inshallah, we don't have much time now. Right after Salat al-Asr, we will just assemble for reflections, and we'll, end our session with that, inshallah. Okay? So you can take a picture of this one. And I'll give you the last one also. Shaykh al-Balkhi, take a picture of that. That's also gives you an idea. Right? Okay? So inshallah, let's all, practice our salat and see if we can replicate that type of salat, and then directly after salat, inshallah, we'll just assemble for those reflections and then we'll end our session. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Okay, so we'd love to hear some reflections. Who would like to relate their experience of their 2 rakats that they tried to replicate? Would anybody like to? We all did the exercise, right? Would anybody like to? Were there any feelings that we had, any special thing that we would like to reflect on? Yeah. Come on.
I didn't particularly think about anything. Only thing that I thought about was when you said we were going across the bridge and there was red on one side and blue, and then there was blood coming down one side and good stuff on the other side. And when I got distracted, I started looking at the designs and everything. And so I just closed my eyes. But the light, I started looking at what color the light was. And then when we were doing ruku, I just focused on my hands. I don't know, somehow I lost my concentration. And then when we stood back up, I was saying Surah Al-Fatiha, and I was looking on which side, what did I do bad things in my life, and which side do I go away in order, which side I'll point, the bad side or the good side.
So, mashallah, so you find yourself focusing a bit better than before? And we can probably improve if we keep doing this kind of practice, inshallah?
Yes, I'll put my hands and see.
Yeah, just keep your hands straight, practice that, yeah. So then that itself is a challenge.
Listening to things makes me wonder about other music that relates to it. I didn't concentrate not to do that.
Yeah, so you need to kind of shut out everything. Just focus, just on what we're saying. MashaAllah, very good. Who else would like to share their experience? Nobody. Very shy.
I think one thing that I just want to mention one thing. One more is there. Wireless is there. I think the biggest thing for me was I was slow in my prayer, meaning not trying to hurry through, but to really understand what I'm doing, standing in front of
continue to improve like that. I mean, it's not so easy to do, is it, to offer salat like that? But if we could, just improve a little bit, one component, we're able to sort of, one lady told me, she said, I wasn't able to do that stuff, But one thing was, I stopped myself from doing, extra movement. That's great. That's wonderful. So we start with small steps, long journey, it starts with small steps. We take a lot of small steps and ultimately we can go quite a distance. So every day we try to improve our salah a little bit. Inshallah, one day our salah will be like this. Who else would like to share something? Let's hear from the ladies a little bit. Any of the ladies would like to share their experience? No? Yeah.
What got me more connected when I was thinking that this is probably my last time I will be praying. Usually that sense kind of makes me more connected. I quickly think about to clean myself. If this is the last prayer I'll be doing, that usually gets me more motivated and more connected.
So it was a positive thing, thinking this is your last salah, and then, and it will be. One of these days, one of these salats, it's going to be the last one. So we can get that conscious, mashallah. Anyone else? No? Jazakumullah khair. So barakallahu feekum. Anyone else would like to share something?
I think the preparation that you mentioned, like how to make wudu, and just thinking about the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like having consciousness that you're about to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like sometimes, in our daily lives we just kind of go in and out of salam. I think just being conscious of you're about to step in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and face Him, and that was very important to me. And even just the first takbir, saying Allahu Akbar, and just sort of surrendering everything else, and Allahu Akbar, like you were mentioning, everything else is asghar, and just thinking about that.
MashaAllah. That's the hikmah. The ulama mentioned it. Why do we raise our hands and say Allahu Akbar? What's the point? It's like we're raising our hand, we're everything except Allah. Everything other than Allah. Cutting it off. That's why we call it takbir tahrim. Everything else now except Allah is haram. Can't eat, you can't drink, you can't speak, you can't talk, you can't look. Everything else other than what we are ordered to do in salat, it's all haram. And even to the point of thinking that other than Allah is also haram. So if we can actually, acquire this kind of, mind and heart set. Now imagine the impact this is going to have on our life. So,
how do you discipline this? How do you get that thoughts out of your mind? How do you do that?
We just do it. We have to practice it again and again and again. Focus on it. It's not so difficult, but it's not so easy also. This is something we have to develop. How does a person who lifts, 500 pounds, how did he get to that point? He didn't do it in a day, right? He started slowly, he started with smaller weights, he kept on, but he kept consistently improving. So we don't even think about it. That's why we probably find it so difficult to offer salat like this, because we really weren't paying much attention previously. It's like kind of like it's just something we have to do. I have to make my salat. It's like I have something I have. We don't really even enjoy it. We should really enjoy it. You know what I mean? Some used to say, Ya Bilal, arihna ila salat. Oh Bilal, give us satisfaction, give us into a peaceful continence by calling the iqamah so we can enter into salat. All this world and all these trouble and tension and stress and put that all aside. Let's talk to us more. So if we think about it, we'll have to develop the skill set. Like any skill, we have to develop it. So every day we, do a little bit more, and we, get a little bit closer and closer. But we have to focus on that. We cognizant our eyes and our minds and our hearts every day, experience all this manifestation is Qudrat everywhere, you know. And every day our salat or 5 times salat or nawafil, you know. Let's, you know, develop the salat, develop our salat, we develop our dhikr or tarawih and all of our ibadah on that way. Inshallah, hopefully we did before, inshallah maybe we'll do again. We have a 3-day retreat where we go out somewhere in the nature, you know. Spend 3 days working on all these things, you know. Work on the salat, work on dhikr, work on the tarawih, Quran, work on dua, work on tafakkur, work on pondering over death, you know. This is a very important exercise, you know. And so forth and so on. So inshallah, hopefully maybe we'll have that program inshallah coming up soon, inshallah, in summertime. Okay? Jazakumullah khair, barakallahu feekum, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq, whatever we have heard, we are able to implement, we will be examples of it, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It did end it by itself after 4 hours. I think the limit.
No, it's still going on.
No.